Everyone, in today's video I want to go over my current character for the hardcore solo self-found Fate of the Vol League. So this is Path of Exile 2 0.4. I'm going to go briefly over what I ended up doing. We have yet to clear Ubers. I'm probably going to kill Arbiter pretty soon here. But we have finally got our character to the state that I want it to be in, headed into the end of the endgame. What I want to talk about is the defensive stats that you should expect to have by the end game of hardcore right now, and how you can actually see those. Because when you're looking at the tab in game, it's not necessarily one-to-one. I can't tell you any number here is like the benchmark that you need to hit in order for you to feel like your character won't die. Instead, you can look in a few different ways. You can check with Path of Building, which is kind of a staple in Path of Exile. If you don't want to put that much effort in, you can look your character up on PHYS Ninja, and that's what we're going to do for this video. So in-game, my character has, max resistances. Chaos is a little low. If I wanted to bump that up to 75, I would, but Chaos isn't as common when it comes to the content that you do. So I'm not doing Breach, and Ritual. Sometimes the Ritual effects can be Chaos heavy, but in general, you're not going to need as much Chaos res as you do Elemental res. And then our armor is around 9k. So 9k, again, for me personally, is enough. But how we're going to check to see if this character is good to go when it comes to defenses headed into the end game is we're going to check for our EHP values. So I'll pull it up on PHYS Ninja right now. So when I'm talking about EHP, what does that mean? Well, it means effective health pool, and on PHYS Ninja, you can see that down here on your character. It's under the simulated because they're calculating this in some way. And as you can see here, we're around 30k elemental max hit taken. We're at around 10k PHYS and 12k chaos. What that means is that I can take a maximum hit of that value at any point in the map. The reason why this number isn't necessarily the only thing I need to know about your character in order to say if it's going to be fine going into the endgame is because this is only looking at the max hit. If you have really poor regeneration, then you're going to, if you get into a situation where you take 2 max hits back to back, you're just going to die. So not only do you need a really high EHP, you also need a way to regenerate that health. Because it's named EHP, you might be confused. This includes energy shield. This includes a lot of different defensive levers. So this isn't just effective like health. It includes everything. It's simulated. In PHYS Ninja, they do it for you. In Path of Building, you can set it up and you can look at like all the different things that if you want to tweak it based on a very specific boss or whatever. But if you just are going a more casual route, and you wanted to know what values you should target when you're looking into the end game, like full on of Path of Exile 2, in my opinion, PHYS should be around 10k. Between 6 and 10k is going to be good. Elemental should be around 30k, and then Chaos should be between those two. So Chaos can go up to like 15k. 12 to 15k is pretty good. Why do I feel confident saying that? Because I can pull up my character from last league. So this Smith of Kitava from 0.3 cleared all the content in the game. How we did it was through maximum elemental resistances, which bumped our elemental elemental EHP up to 30k. That is the target. Our PHYS was pretty low at 6k, and then our chaos, this is bugged. I actually had 80% chaos res, so our chaos resistance was probably in the range of like 15k plus. So again, those are the targets that you should be hitting if you're going to feel confident going into endgame of Path of Exile 2 and you actually want to clear everything in hardcore. This, again, isn't the only thing you need to worry about. On my Smith of Kitava character, I had Leech going at all times. I had the ability for the Leech, and I think if I scroll down, I believe I was still using the support, so Life Leech 3 support. The mod that says Life Leech by supported skills is not removed at full life is incredibly strong in hardcore. That means that you are always life leeching the full duration, even if you max out your health. So anytime you get hit, you're immediately getting regened back to full. On this character, we have life leech. On our current Mace Druid, the one that we showed off, we actually have it through soul tether. Soul Tether shows excess life recovery from leeches applied to energy shields. That is how I'm leeching energy shield at all times. It has the negative modifier of 5% maximum energy shield per second is lost. And I'll talk about that a little bit later. But we were able to ignore the downside, just get the leech, and our character has a very similar amount of EHP to our smith, as well as the ability to leech energy shield and make sure it's regened very quickly while we're mapping. But you can see here that our elemental resistances are really low, right, compared to the smith. So how do we actually hit these 30k EHP values? Well, it's because our actual health pool is so high. We have 1500 life and 6000 energy shields, compared to the smith that we were running before, which was only at 3.8k life. So we essentially doubled this value, even though we kept the 75% elemental resistances, and it just, pads out your health numbers to the point where this is going to be okay. We can take a really large hit because energy shield has given us a much larger health pool. We actually have more armor than the smith, and that's because we've gone through and taken specific passives on the tree that really benefit the hybrid armor ES approach. And we actually have even more in maps because we are now running bark skin. But we're at the point now in the video where, again, I'll put some numbers up. You can kind of get an understanding of the benchmarks you need going into the endgame, right? You need very high regen, very consistent regen, and around, 10k PHYS, 30k elemental, and like 15k chaos. When we're talking about going from campaign into maps, the numbers that you're looking about hitting are probably in like the 5k PHYS, 15k elemental, and I don't know amount of chaos res headed out of campaign. It really depends. Chaos depends on what content you want to do. But those are pretty simple things that you can target when you're looking at learning how to play hardcore and you're hitting the end game. The 15k range is good for maps with 2 mods on them, essentially magic maps, maybe 3, maybe 4 mods, but really you want to just target 1 offensive modifier at a time. Once you get up to this 30k value, you should feel way more comfortable running 4 or 5 mod maps with 2 offensive modifiers, but you are still going to need to be careful, right? You should always be careful playing hardcore. You should never really feel safe if you're pushing content. But again, in general, once you leave campaign, going into maps, target magic mod, just 2 affix maps. Really don't try to juice them. So running 2 damage mods like monster damage increased and extra damage is lightning is going to be really dangerous that early. But again, once your character can get up to these values, this 30k, feel more comfortable running maps with way more modifiers on them, feel more comfortable adding to, but at this point, if we swap back to game, this character in particular, I haven't run a single 6 mod map. We're level 92. Again, majority of the time I run 2 or 3 mod maps in the early game, early end game, and then eventually once you get up to that 30k value, you can transition into the 4 or 5 mod maps with double offensive affixes on them. So again, this character, we showed off, we have a massive EHP because of the energy shield that we have. 6k is good for armor evasion. If you're going pure ES, you can definitely hit in like the 20k range, and you can, if you really focus it, you can go crazy on it. The life pool is okay, but the part of the thing I want to show off today is how I got around the downsides to Soul Tether. I got pretty lucky. In 0.4, this league introduces the concept of a cultivation orb, and that's what allowed me to apply this modifier on my belt. So life regeneration is applied to energy shield instead. You might read that and be reminded of a notable in the tree, Zealot's Oath. Excess life recovery from regeneration is applied to energy shields. Energy shield does not recharge. Zealot's Oath is a much worse version of the mod on my belt right now. And one of the reasons is because energy shield does not recharge, makes it so that you cannot use convalescence. Convalescence is a way for you to trigger your ES recharge immediately. Really helpful while mapping, really helpful as an oh shit button, because you can't use flasks, like instant flasks, to generate ES instantly. So this is a very good tool to have, and taking Zealot's Oath removes it. But also, Zealot's Oath is worded differently than my belts. excess life recovery from regen is applied to ES means any percentage regeneration, which is a majority of how it works in Path of Exile 2, so regenerate 2% of maximum life, is actually tracking the life value. And then it is converting that to ES. So because my life pool is so low, I'd be getting much less energy shields based on, the 0.2%. What I learned last week is that life regeneration is applied to energy shield instead on the soul tether belt. This modifier is not that. It converts it 1-to-1. So if I have 5% of my max life regenerated per second, it just flips it to 5% of maximum energy shield per second, and that is exactly what we've done with our character. So we've completely offset this negative, and you can do that in a different way by just ripping the mod off, which by the end of 0.4, I'm hoping to get that version of the belt. But in the meantime, we don't have it. We've instead got 5% of maximum life regeneration. It's been flipped with our belt mod, and we are now not degenning any ES at all. So this is a true, 30 EHP, 30k EHP health pool. We actually have it. It took me a long time to get here. Before this, we were constantly degenning. If you were running around the map from place to place and not leeching, my ES was constantly going down. I was constantly playing in fear of my character dying if I just was reading chat or something and I missed it. So character's finally to the point where we're always at max EHP. Basically, if I'm hitting, if I'm getting regen, if I use convalescence, it's an even safer playstyle. It also gives me way more free form to go bark skin because I know that I'm always going to be losing energy shields from hits. I'm not going to be losing my energy shield through the degen. And I've been able to hit some pretty significant values with bark skin finally after not running it for most of the league. There's something I do want to talk about though, which is you might not even need to use soul tether for this. The reason why soul tether is cool is because, one, you get the leech, and then you can also potentially get this modifier, which, although we've maxed it out, we're not necessarily getting like new regen from it, unless we use consecrated ground. So under consecrated ground, we actually get another 5% max ES per second, which is pretty nice, and you can see that value changing here. There's a few setups you can do, but Leap Slam has a really simple setup with Holy Descent, Persistent Ground, which increases the duration, and then Encroaching Ground, which increases the area of effect. So as you're mapping, you can just kind of Leap Slam around, and then you just lay out Consecrated Ground everywhere, so you get some ES regen for free. But there is apparently another unique that I was not aware of. And that unique is Essentia Sanguis. This is a glove that just Leech Leaf is converted to Energy Shield Leech. I don't know how much better this is. With what I wanted to do, this set of unique gloves is exactly what I wanted to do. I just looked at Soul Tether first. I didn't know that this was a thing, so probably my character should have been targeting chancing these gloves and trying this out. Way easier than getting 5% max life regeneration on your character. We're sacrificing damage for it. We're sacrificing defenses for it. Instead of using Soul Tether and Cultivation Orbs, you can just get this pair of gloves, I think. I've yet to test it, but those are the two ways that I know of that you can leech Energy Shield at the moment, and my playstyle is exactly that. Get a very high EHP pool, in the numbers that I talked about earlier, and then get really consistent regeneration through leech, get instant regeneration through your flasks if you're a life character, or use convalescence if you are a energy shield character. But yeah, hope this helps. Again, I'm trying to do content that's as I play the game and as I learn and figure out what feels comfortable in terms of like benchmarks that I want to hit. I'm trying to share that with you guys. So again, if you like this content, like, subscribe. We'll be live streaming Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Most of my streams are really short, but we might do longer streams depending on, if anybody keeps watching, if there are any like big events like launches, stuff like that. But in general, short streams. We're progressing the character. I try to do one hardcore SSF character per league, and then I try to clear the whole game. That's going to be our goal. At the moment, we've chosen maces on Druid, and in the future, I'll probably pick a different class and still run maces, just because it's a fun thing to do. Anyways, again, hope you guys enjoy the content, and I'll see you in the next one.